Good morning. My name is Sibusiso, and I'm a member of the board. What? Okay, let's try this again. I can also yell. Okay. Anyway, my name is Sibusiso, and I'm a member of the board, and I'm also a member of the finance committee. Uh, Welcome to our service. Unitarian Universalism encourages an open-ended search for meaning in life and a commitment in asking for our values to shape our actions. We are a pluralistic religion that draws wisdom from many sources. We welcome all people into our community of whatever age, race, class, ethnicity, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religious background. We especially welcome those of you who may be worshiping with us for the first time. We invite you to join us after service downstairs for coffee and snacks so that we can get to know each other. Guests are welcome to participate in any activities in our community. If you would like more information about our congregation or if you have any questions, please ask any board member or Rev Patrick Price. Thank you. Okay, on another news, we just finished our matching fundraiser on the 31st, and I have some numbers to share with the congregation. So we were able to raise 11,700 bucks, and these funds. Thank you. And these funds were matched dollar for dollar by a very generous family. So in total, we've raised $23,400. So, on behalf of the board, myself would like to say thank you to each and every one of you and the family for making this happen. Thank you.
Good morning. Try and speak a little better there. We have a big announcement for people to participate in a major activity later this month on September 23rd, which is a Friday night. The Reverend Sharon Dittmar, who is the regional staff person for congregational life from our Unitarian Universalist Association, will be coming here to work with the congregation and with the Board of Trustees that weekend. On Friday, the 23rd of September, we will have a large communal meal here, potluck, whatever. We're still working on putting that together. And afterwards, we'll have about 2 hours from around 6:30 to 8:30 of being led by Reverend Dittmar in talking about what the interim ministry will look like in broad terms, and then to lead the congregation through a reflection on its own history and heritage. And it's participatory, so we need you here to help make that happen. And we're also going to be trying to make sure we have some sort of virtual participatory opportunity, but that's still being worked out. So please share with all of your friends, other members of the congregation, anybody else, even if they haven't been for a while, that we're going to be talking about the history of the congregation and the congregation going forward that evening. Then on Saturday, Reverend Dittmer is going to be working with the Board of Trustees specifically on issues that the board will be dealing with. So we encourage you to come Friday, the 23rd of September. Again, Friday, the 23rd of September. Come share a meal with everyone here if you're able to, and then join us for the sharing around the interim ministry and the heritage and history of the congregation. So this should be a very nice event, and get to see each other, eat together, and share about the church. And who doesn't like to talk about themselves, right? Okay. Yes, ma'am. We are working to make sure we have childcare available. I am a serious advocate for childcare for everything. All right? So that is one of the things I want to make sure we have. We're working with Aubrey and the religious education program to make sure we have that. But feel free to ask. Nudging is not a problem. So feel free to do that. And thank you for asking. All right. Thank you very much. And let us continue with our worship service. Do we have someone who is doing the spotlight today? That was the spotlight then. The Sufi poet Rumi has shared with us, "Come, come, whoever you are, wonder worshipper, lover of leading, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come." Ralph Waldo Emerson, Unitarian minister and transcendentalist writer, offers us the following. We have a great deal more kindness than is ever spoken. The whole human family is bathed with an element of love like a fine ether. How many persons we meet in houses whom we scarcely speak to, whom yet we honor and who honor us. How many we see in the street or sit with in church, whom, though silently, we warmly rejoice to be with. Read the language of these wandering eye-beams. The heart knoweth. Let us together light our chalice. Now, this is very good metaphor. It's an excellent metaphor for interim ministry. Because no matter what we do, sometimes we have to do it again. House, for all who are here and all who are not, for all who have ever walked through our doors, for those who may yet find this spiritual home, for those we may imagine, for each of us, for all of us, may this flame burn warm and bright. Please join us in our opening song, number 128, For All That Is Our Life, and rise as you're willing and able in body or spirit.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for which new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Right? Could I have the kiddos come join me up here so I'm not all alone?
Oh no.
Hi, good morning, friends.
Come on down.
Good morning. Oh, I'm so happy to see all your faces. Good morning. Oh, let's take a second to just be together and feel so glad that we're here in our spot. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with minds that think. We are people with hearts that love. We are people who work for justice and peace. So this morning we're going to blow some bubbles, okay? We're going to blow some imaginary bubbles. So do you want to hold up your bubble blower stick? Have it in your hand. What color is it? Yours is pink? Yeah. Wonderful. Yours is rainbow. Somebody always has a rainbow something. Mine is green. All right, so we're going to blow some bubbles in a second. But first, I want to talk about, if anything, let's think about what we were worried about this week. So this week, I was worried about getting to school on time, getting school drop-off done on time, like breakfast, get dressed for the day, get lunches made, get there to school drop-off on time. Anyone else worried about that this week? No, yeah, you. Yes, homeschool. You don't have to worry about it. You don't even have to get out of your pajamas. What did anybody have a little worry this week? Fiona, you did? Were you worried about being on time? Yeah. Love it. Who else had a little worry this week? Yeah, Zoe? You were worried about your cat? About Taco? Yeah? Anybody else have a worry? Yes. Rowan? Yeah, about going to school. Sometimes school is so fun, but sometimes it comes with lots of other little things you have to think about. Yeah? That is really thoughtful of you, Eleanor. Rowan, you had another worry? Yeah? You're worried about that? Yeah. Sometimes we have lots of things we have to think about. And sometimes when we worry, here, let's stick your bubble blower thing into the bubbles. Okay. And then you know how if you blow, sometimes you can blow a bunch of bubbles all at once? All right, let's do that. So, okay. So we've got all these bubbles in the air now. And sometimes when we have worries, it's like all of these bubbles above our heads, right? And sometimes we can't see clearly. You know, when you look through a bubble, everything's a little bit like wobbly. I do this. You all know what that means. There's a word connected to that. So sometimes it's like that, right? So let's do our breathing. So let's imagine that our whole air is full of bubbles, right? Sometimes all we need to do is just to be with our bodies, be right in the place where we are. Take a deep breath into your center. And let's just blow on those bubbles up there in the air. Breathe out. Another one in. And let's just blow softly on those bubbles. And what happens when we blow on those bubbles? They go higher. Yep. They go higher. They go a little farther away so they're not so close to our heads. Right? Let's do one more big breath and blow on those bubbles. And out. And maybe those bubbles are still up there. We still have to think about those things, right? But they're a little farther away. And we always have our breath with us. So we can always take that deep breath and blow it in the air. You can imagine whatever your worry is as a bubble. And just blow it a little bit farther away from your sweet little heads. All right. So I'm so glad you're with me this morning. And friends, our grown-ups are going to sing us out. You can follow me out. Right? All right. Thank you so much.
May the Spirit of love surround the Spirit of love surround everywhere, everywhere you may go. What a great joy to be together and to share with each other. What a great joy that this congregation has managed to meet a great financial giving opportunity to raise over $20,000. And now we come to the point in the service where we talk about this issue of giving, of collecting what we call the offering, that which we give of our lives, that part we have set aside to sanctify for the purposes of those things we consider to be most important. For those of you online, there are opportunities to give to the congregation, and we welcome what you may wish to give at any time. And the same for all of you here. The mystery is that we are so connected, even when we may seem at times to be so far apart. The offering is an opportunity for us to narrow that sense of distance and to share with each other those things that are a bounty of our lives and for the hopes for our future together.
Good morning. I am Susan Perry, a pastoral care associate. In this time of sharing, we take time to read from the Book of Joys and Sorrows, which is located in the hallway leading into the sanctuary. Please feel free to write in this book before each service. Please also mention to Patrick or one of the pastoral care team if we may help you through any of life's stresses or changes. Pastoral care team all has yellow badges like this. There is actually nothing written in the book out front today, but online, Dennis Darlin has put 2 joys. He's thankful he finally got his will and power of attorneys taken care of after 20 years on a to-do list. And also he's glad that his glucose is doing well in the morning after finding out he's lactose intolerant, and also with diet and exercise, which is always good. So those are our 2 joys online. For what has been shared and what remains in the quiet of our thoughts, we are grateful. Let us enter into a short, quiet meditation within the energy of our congregation. I leave with a line by Nikki Gumbel, quote, "A church is not an organization you join. It is a family where you belong, a home where you are loved, and a hospital where you find healing," unquote.
Now it's on. There we go. While Doug is setting up our equipment. Hello. I'm Christy. This is Doug. You know Doug. Some of y'all know me. You have to turn your mic on. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Testing. Yep. Ready?
No, like a stupid, I forgot my name.
That's why I asked you if you were ready.
We don't say stupid around here. Absent-minded and old, maybe, but. Things like that. Oh, they got my name spelled right here.
All right.
I was teasing them because we're in a band called Totes McGoats, and the Totes is not spelled like that because nobody can really spell that unless they know me. So we went TOTES, and that's what it says in the program. I'm like, oh, that's great.
We answer to both.
Yeah,
we answer to a lot of things.
Hey, you.
Yeah.
Stuff I don't share on Sundays, you know. Anyway.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's help did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams the one they picked, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you of tender years can't know the fear that your elders grew by. And so please teach your children them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's health will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they fix, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you will cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And shut the mic. Our theme for worship and religious education this month is one of belonging. In that vein, it's important for us to remember and reflect on the fact that one of the most basic of all human needs is to feel to be a part of a family, a group, a community of some sort. This has been brought home to us in huge measure by all of our experiences over the last 2.5 years during the COVID pandemic, and even for many of us still, who may be forced to not be as close or may still have to be in semi-isolation. It is in a sacred community such as this one, which is a place, a time, a context, where we may seek to feel safe and empowered and motivated to give ourselves to something larger than ourselves, often for the sake of a sense of connection and belonging. It is about our sense of belonging in the universe. This is one of the key issues around what is known as identity politics. It is about the inclusive sense of belonging without reservation, without condition, that we as Unitarian Universalists endorse and espouse and have for many years, even as we ourselves learn how to be better at what we say we wish to do. And yet, one of the things about all of this issue of belonging, as the sociologist Madonna Kolbenschlag says in her book, Lost in the Land of Oz, The Search for Identity and Community in America, she writes that Americans have been struggling, and this is for decades, looking for a place in which to have a sense of rootedness and connection with something larger than ourselves. Historically, this has often been provided by geographic or ethnic communities, and now often with online identity communities or other affinity groups to which we have close ties and loyalties. With the history of most Americans now being more and more divorced from such historic roots, most of us being more and more mobile, this desire and need for connection is even stronger and permeates our society. Kolbenschlag poses that not only are we cut off from our external support by circumstances, but that we keep them cut off or loose because we often think that we must. Now, we had some of that experience during the COVID pandemic where we must, for the sake of respecting and caring for others and ourselves. But she brings this up in a different light. She refers to this as our particularly Anglo-American myth of the self-made man or self-made person, which forces us to do this. She calls this ridiculous pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality that says if you can't do it alone, you're a failure, even if somehow you've succeeded. The world and all the people on it become merely a stage and a backdrop on which the dramas of our individual stories unfold separately, not as part of a larger communal whole. As physical and temporal beings, we are defined by and exist in relationship to those and that which are around us. If we feel cut off from authentic relationship with others, then we are, in fact, cut off from authentic relationship with ourselves. It is in this state of isolation from everything and everyone, which is so profound that we lose contact even with ourselves. And it is by that that we often mean and refer to loneliness, which is something of an epidemic itself in our society and has been for many, many years. As I have mentioned previously, in contrast, solitude can be described as an experience like the popular saying from the fictional character Buckaroo Banzai, remember, no matter where you go, there you are. It is an experience of being aware of oneself in place and time. This is much of what the mindfulness project deals with. In contrast, loneliness, isolation, is more like getting a postcard from yourself saying, missing you, wish you were here. In loneliness, we experience a totalizing or universalizing of experiential categories. The world becomes a collection of black and white, them, us, on, off, zeros and one, and grand events. This is one of the things we know now from being in states of isolation and relying on online news media, is that there is this tense sense of aggrandizing all of the events, of catastrophizing everything, and seeing them somehow as being some larger disaster when they may only be small things. Given all of this, what is our response as Unitarian Universalists? As a religious community which affirms individual inherent worth and dignity, as well as our mutual interconnectedness, we offer messages of hope and belonging in a world to those in despair, and we offer a challenge to those who create division and profit by misery of others. I don't have to enumerate those. I'm sure you can think of them. for ourselves, for you and me, for everyone, there is the potential to turn the experience of our loneliness into a form of solitude and relationship, our despair into joy. First, we must recognize and break through our loneliness with experiences of relationship with some other, whether that be family and friends and community, on what we often in sociology refer to as the horizontal plane of relationship, if you think about it in grid terms, or to the holy, the Tao, the goddess God, the ultimate, however we may know it, which we often may think of on a vertical axis. This experience of the other is what I believe most people mean when they speak of spirituality or spiritual experiences. It's not just the awareness of the other, but a relationship with the other. And this is one of those practical and traditional aspects of religion. Often what used to be, what now we call a spiritual experience, was traditionally called a religious experience. Especially for those based on personal relationships with some sense of the divine or the transcendent. That even when there is no one else close at hand, we know or we feel or we believe that we are not ultimately alone or forsaken. Martin Luther, not someone I'm in the habit of quoting often, once wrote that there must be a God because man needs one being whom he can trust. I believe I understand this conviction. The very fact that we congregate, that people in general congregate in sacred communities, such as this one, belies the myth of self-sufficiency. If we could do it alone, we would. If we wanted to be alone, we wouldn't be here, whether it's online or in person, or even simply in our hearts thinking of each other. We wouldn't be here seeking for questions and answers and doing good works in the company of others. As the Reverend Mark Morrison Reed writes, the religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength is too limited to do all that must be done. Together our vision widens, and our strength is renewed. Together our vision widens, and our strength is renewed. Now I know, coming out of the COVID experience, religious communities are beset with a sense of inadequate energy, inadequate resources, with a sense that we just don't have what it takes to do what it needs to be done. And this is common across this country and Europe. This is a fairly typical experience. But I believe that, as Mark Morrison Reed puts it, that together, as we come back together and rediscover each other and ourselves, we rediscover ourselves within community with others. I believe that together our vision will widen and our strength will be renewed. So what are and are not some of the elements of a healthy, sacred, or religious community? First, let me be very clear that religious communities and communities at large are not the same thing as families. There are elements of communities, especially religious communities, that we may experience like that of a family, and there may be family-like units within the congregation. That's fairly normal, fairly typical. But communities themselves are bigger than a family. They are more than a family. It's more like a village or a town. There may be many families within the village, within the town, within the congregation. Communities are charged with creating the environments for families and individuals to understand and pursue their lives. This is part of what a healthy civic government, a healthy civic community is about, is creating the environments in which families and their individuals can thrive. To create contexts larger than the immediacy of the family, it is the place for families to belong to and to succeed. Not trying to turn religious community into a surrogate family is often hard for many of us who seek to fulfill those parts or fill up those parts of our emotional and our psychological lives that are left over from our family structures. We all do this at some extent in all of our relationships, and it's often easy to feel safe in acting out the things from our family systems, our issues, our baggage that we bring with us into a religious community where people are supposed to be supportive and caring and let us do whatever we want, right? Many of you have experienced this. And religious community is about where we come together to be healthy with each other. It is not where we come to just let everything hang out. It is about being safe enough to be vulnerable and extra dependent on each other and that which we call holy. It's not about being inappropriate and enmeshed and codependent. While substituting church for family may provide some temporary relief for some, it will ultimately create an environment where everyone is busy carrying everyone else's emotional baggage and being enmeshed in each other's ideals and frustrations. In the end, we may become afraid to move or do or say anything for fear of upsetting someone for some minor infraction, real or perceived. And a form of emotional gridlock, in fact, emotional blackmail, sets in, and nothing can happen, as a handful of people may hold even very large communities hostage. Ironically, in such situations, no one feels safe anymore, and nothing happens but the most basic functions, perhaps. It is a chicken and egg kind of irony that we encounter that in order to be a healthy, supportive, transformational environment, religious community must be a place where we can feel free to take risks inherent in our struggling towards wholeness and transformation. Successfully taking risks can beget a sense of safety. Sometimes to create that safety, you must take leaps of faith and courage. As an exercise together, respecting any issues of distance, I'd like you now to look at those around you. Yes, I'm talking, so there's a tendency to want to look up here. But I want you to look around you on that horizontal plane of community. And look around and look at the eyes of those around you. And those of you online who may be with us, look at maybe those in the room with you, or look here to see if there are those you can see, even if it's me. Look around you, even if it's someone you don't know. I want to see you looking around. This is a very real thing. I know this is uncomfortable, right? But sometimes a part of transcending ourselves is moving into places of discomfort. And this is a very real and physical manifestation of religious community. as Emerson talks about, looking at those wandering eye beams of others within this sacred time and sacred place. This sacred community we seek is present not only in words and ideas, but most basically in the very real touch of hands, the looks of others' eyes, shared greetings, and shared work. As you continue to be in contact with each other, again, keep looking at each other. Listen to me. I'm the radio, not a TV. Keep looking at each other. You're not trying to accomplish anything. You're just being. I'd like you to listen to my words and say after me, as you are comfortable, I am powerful, precious, holy, and not alone. And now, as you look at each other, repeat after me, you are powerful, precious, holy, and not alone. And finally, look around you and at everyone else and repeat after me once more. We are powerful, precious, holy, and not alone. So be it. I want you to remember those words. Hear them in your mind. Let them shut out the chatter that says otherwise. Novelist, journalist, and film critic Vamda Sharif was born in Liberia, and later he lived in Kuwait and Syria before settling into the Netherlands. In his brief and very poignant 2016 TEDx presentation, Vamda Sharif reflects on his experience of living in many different places in the world, having grown up with a large extended family in Africa. He says, being part of a group of people, a culture, or living in a physical place is not what creates a sense of home. Belonging for me, he says, is a choice of you and me. He goes on, my sense of belonging is not complete without a feeling, a conviction that you belong to me. When you look around, you can say truly that you have contributed to others feeling a sense of belonging. Where is home? He asks. Where do you belong? And in a chapter of our association's report from many years ago on its commission of appraisal entitled Belonging, the Meaning of Membership, it says, we, as Unitarian Universalists, find our wholeness in relationship, in community with others, people both like and unlike ourselves. Individually, we are changed, transformed by our relationships with others. At the same time, the community as a whole is changed by the presence and participation of each individual. Both individually and collectively, we are in a constant state of change and transformation. Sacred community is a place, a time, a context where we feel safe and empowered and motivated to give ourselves to something larger than ourselves. It is about a sense of belonging in the universe. Sacred time is not just about going to church. Sacred space is not just about sanctuaries and buildings or even wilderness. Sacred living is not just about piety and good works. Sacred community is not just about institutions. All of these sacred dimensions of our lives are about ways and modes in which we encounter the holy, however we understand it, whatever we call it. All of them require us to open to be mindful of, and belonging to each other in the world, so that we might all more fully be revealed for the beautiful and holy beings that we each and all are. Remember, the sacred mountain is beneath your feet. The sacred moment is now. The sacred act and the sacred life exists in every act, and sacred community is everyone and everything all around us and within us. We all belong. Amen and blessed be. Please join us in our closing hymn today. Number 18 in the gray hymnal, What Wondrous Love. Rise as you may be willing and able in body or spirit to sing together in our hearts and our voices.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul, oh my soul, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul, to love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends through pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
We extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, or the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May the Eternal bless you and protect you. May the Eternal smile on you and favor you. May the Eternal befriend you and prosper you and all people in all places, always. Amen. And blessed be. wanted to make sure you were aware that in 2 weeks, we will have an all ages in-gathering service here. It will be a more traditional in-gathering of water service. Those of you may know what that means. But it means that we bring either literally or virtually some example of water or other things from places we have been, not as a part of our vacation travel story, but as a part of that and those places that are sacred to us in our everyday lives. We come together. This will be sort of a formal welcoming back. And I invite you to invite all of your friends, your co-parishioners, and anyone else to be a part of this service of welcoming, of homecoming, and of belonging. Go as you go with the love of all that is special and sacred in your hearts. Have a good week.